This is Trend Following Radio, where great thinking comes alive. Nobel Prize winners, legendary traders, best-selling authors, and the pros that know what drive us irrational human beings. I am your host, Michael Covel. Not filtered, raw, honest. That's my passion. Censorship is all the rage. Now, some people on the right will probably, at least in America, immediately agree with me. Some people on the left will say you're crazy. Censorship is all the rage. It is not possible under American free speech laws, as an American, to use an American as an example, it's not possible to have free speech today. I've been censored several times this year. In fact, I stopped using one social media platform a lot because of that censorship. And it wasn't anything unusual. It was me linking to a government report, me linking to a non-controversial government report, and some bot decided that that was not appropriate. So in this kind of environment where you have voices nonstop, whether that's CNBC, Bloomberg, MSNBC, Fox, CNN, voices nonstop telling you something or preventing you from saying something. Or if you say the wrong thing, somebody will fine you. Or if you say the wrong thing, someone will take your bank account away. This is life in the big city today. This is how we all roll. But that makes it tough for navigating life. If you can't tell what's real, how the hell do you make decisions? If you're not allowed to talk about what's real, how do you make decisions? If you can't posit an opinion, or if you can't be skeptical of a view with the idea that you might find the truth along the way, which is how it used to be, you're going to be shut down. You can't talk. Navigating that is a mess. What do you do? Well, let me give you my best advice for 2022 until something changes. It's not worth your time unless you are a Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton level politician. It's not worth your time to have political battles online. It's not. It's not worth your time. That day has passed. Better to move on to something else. Better to take care of you, your friends, your family, and figure out the economics of life. To figure out how you can make more money. To find a little freedom in a different way. Freedom defined differently than how America is supposedly free. Because that freedom's gone. That one's not there anymore. And you'll see where this all goes, where I'm winding you through today. But I caught a tweet. I think it was actually retweeted by Cliff Asness, the fund manager at AQR, who has a lot of trend following investments. But he retweeted a reporter, I believe it was a reporter, a guy named Mike Bird. And Mike Bird said, "It is amazing that the idea of escaping volatility by investing in things that are not marked to market regularly has gained such prominence. It's the financial equivalent of infant children believing that the room disappears when their eyes are covered." Now you see what he's getting at there is in the land of, for example, let's say private equity, you don't have to define the price. The price is, in a way, censored, or the price doesn't exist. And a lot of people are doing this right now, where they're finding ways to bring their money into private equity because they say, I don't want the volatility of 2022. So let me just hide out in some market that doesn't have that volatility. And then when the good times roll again, I'll be fine. This is very similar thinking, at least in my mind, to censorship. It's a way to avoid the truth. If you're not allowed to talk, if you're not allowed to posit an opinion, that's avoiding the truth. If you're investing in assets that are not marked to market, meaning if you don't have a price every day, well, that's a form of evading the truth as well. Now, I'm sure everybody can immediately see when you think about it the way I'm presenting it, these are just problematic ways to live. Again, I don't see any reason to fight censorship now in America. It's there. Now, look, there's a lot of people I follow who are out there on the front lines trying to fight this censorship, and I wish them well. But for the average person, do you want to get into that fight? Do you want the risk of careers being dismantled? I mean, everyone can see what's going on. Then on the flip side, if you don't like the price that the market is giving you, so you take your money outside of the market, someplace where your assets, your investments are not marked to market each day, it's another form of censorship. The point of life, because we're all born not knowing, the point of life is to listen, learn, reason something through, and then perhaps be skeptical if needed. That skepticism is massive. That's why I'm here. That's why I do this podcast. If I can't be skeptical, if I'm shut down, so to speak, and yes, I just laid out how I don't want to fight free speech issues at the political level in America at this moment in time because there's no advantage. But to be skeptical, that's the way to navigate life. You can't just accept what the hell people say. You've got to verify it. This is Reagan Gorbachev, his famous line, trust but verify. So if we take something like, in the last couple years, we were not allowed to ask a lot of questions during the COVID time period, during the vax time period. It was just shut up. Now, if you happen to be an investor in private equity, where an investment is not marked to market, essentially you're getting the same message. Just shut up. You should be so lucky to have an investment that's not marked to market that you don't, quote, have to worry about. God, this all seems crazy, doesn't it? Right? The fabulous thing about trend following is that you are taking a position in a liquid market, one that is freely traded, not some obscure back channel, pink sheet, whatever you want to call it, not some obscure market that a handful of people are in. Oh yeah, you can read the stories in Forbes and Bloomberg about how somebody made a bloody fortune in some obscure market. But that's not trend following. Trend following is saying, where are the liquid markets? Let me follow the liquid markets. Let me look for ways to enter the liquid markets. Let me look for ways to exit the liquid markets. And price is not censored. Price is real. The price of liquid markets we can all see. Stocks, interest rates, currencies, agriculturals, commodities, energies, metals, softs. The price is something you can see every day. You don't have to be skeptical of the price, at least yet. But you have to be skeptical of people that censor you. You have to be skeptical of investments that aren't marked to market because there's no fucking truth there. Now, if you're comfortable with this lack of truth, going through life like that, if you're not a skeptical person, if you're just a trusting lemming type, well, shit, turn off this podcast. Turn off trend following. Just go buy and hold and trust the system. And historically, it'll probably work out okay for you. Unless you happen to have been long the Nikkei 225 for 30 years. Unless you happen to have been long the Hang Seng Index out of Hong Kong for 30 years. See, Americans don't think that the shit can come to their doorstep. Americans only imagine, it's going to be a Japanese problem or a Hong Kong problem or a China problem or a South America problem. But what will happen one day if the truth happens to be that buy and hold doesn't work? And let's face it, buy and hold is another form of censorship in a way. It's a way of not having the truth. Why has buy and hold worked in the last 20 years? Well, because the Fed has, at various points in time, done things to boost stocks. Now here we are in 2022. We have inflation. We don't have the ability, or the Fed doesn't have the ability, to do the same thing that they've done in the past. So then all of a sudden you've got armies and armies of people, regular investors, who were not skeptical, who essentially just believed, and I think it's fair enough to call it a lie. They believed the market lie from the Fed. And here we are now. So now you've got people that are essentially waking up to a system where I can imagine millions of people are devastated in 2022. They don't know what to do. They've watched something like Facebook go from $1 trillion market cap to $250 billion, essentially a 75% decrease. How many pension funds do you think had the firemen and teachers and government workers, etc.? How many of those pension funds have had money in Facebook just blindly? And how many of them were not skeptical when the price was going down? How many allowed themselves to live in this mindset of censorship where essentially these pension fund investors could not consider that a price for Meta, for Facebook, dropping like a stone 70+% in a year was a signal that something bad was happening? How many of them have been so conditioned that they had to believe in the narrative? And not just for Meta, for whatever particular investment narrative, where you had somebody censoring the truth to sell you a story. My critics will say, Mike, you're censoring the truth. You don't tell people how volatile trend following is. I don't know what the fuck that means. But anyone with a pulse who's seen my books, seen my website, knows full well that I share performance data from publicly available trend following traders to demonstrate exactly what can happen. Now, if you look at a 30-year track record and you can see the month-by-month performance, you can see the month-by-month volatility, don't come blaming me for anything. And people aren't really blaming me. That's just they're arguing because they took the wrong position. They don't want to admit that they were living in a land of censorship. They don't want to admit they were living in a land of untruth. So it's easier to just take out the arrow and try to shoot one through me. I don't give a shit, whatever. Here's a good exercise for my censorship diatribe today, my skepticism diatribe, my search for the truth diatribe. Take one of my books. For example, take Trend Following, the 5th edition. Go through the book and find the untruths, find the opinions. I very carefully worked to make sure that that book connected the words in the narrative to the technique and the performance. You can see that. Now, you don't have to like it. Maybe you'll say to yourself, you know what, I'd rather just buy and hold and trust the Fed. I'd rather have the Fed tuck me in at night and give me a little bit of a kiss on the cheek, or even a little something more. Who knows? So maybe you don't like what trend following is, but damn it, at least at least it's the truth. Or I should say, it's a truth. So much, as I said at the beginning of this podcast, so much of current life is not truth, is censored. And you're not allowed to ask questions. You're not allowed to be skeptical. But at least in the moment, if you have to put the political stuff down, turn your eyes to the economics. Turn your eyes to the money. Because nobody's going to censor you, at least not yet. Nobody's going to censor you for being a better investor. They're not going to censor you for being a better trader. They're not going to censor you for making more money. As I'm saying that, I'm thinking to myself, my God, they're already trying to put the windfall profit tax on oil companies, even after the U.S. Federal Reserve created the very inflation they're trying to blame on oil companies. So yeah, it's always a messy, messy situation. But there's only one way you can fight this. Because if you don't have the freedom to say exactly what you want, you have to use the freedom of your mind to take action, to make decisions, to try to put yourself in a place that when you walk out the door, you have more assets in your pocket to make decisions to navigate whatever comes towards you. Look, we could be facing a situation where the proverbial, rather large, massive shit will hit the fan at any day. We could also be facing a situation where the Fed somehow or another magically tamps out inflation and goes right back to QE, and equities are at all-time highs, and the buy and holders are saying, oh, Mike, you're just an idiot with this trend following. Look at us. We trusted the Fed. Any situation can happen. But if you put yourself in the truth seeker mode, and if you put the political stuff to the side for the moment, and you focus on the economic side, you focus on a trading strategy that allows you to see a price every day. A price equals truth. You've got a chance to navigate whatever comes down the road. And of course, there's always the flip side. You can turn a voice off like me, and you can flip on CNBC, and you can hear something like Kramer crying over his recommendation of Meta stock. And not just to toot my own horn, it's not just me. There are a lot of voices out there that are running in parallel to me. Perhaps much stronger voices, bigger platforms. But we are not alone in this thinking. To be a skeptic, to be an observer, to see something and know that is wrong. That's the first step. And trust me, when that opportunity comes, that America perhaps gets back to its true free speech roots, I will participate fully. But as I said at the top, be careful. It's not worth watching you or your family or your friends or your kids' economic life get destroyed just because you have a political opinion. But it is worth to take all your time and energy to figure out your economic life, your financial life. And you are never going to go wrong if you understand trend following as an option to that goal.
I see a time when those awake will understand how to make money in up, down, and surprise markets. Whether new trader or experienced, college student or financial advisor, protecting against a crash or just trying to make a lot of money, trend following offers everyone an answer in uncertain times. To get started immediately, send me an email, michael@covel.com. I will send you the right trend following steps to take along with my free video. But if you want to buy and hold, trust the government and trust Wall Street, this is absolutely not for you.